Marcy Montezeri here, everybody, on the We'll Name It Later show, episode number 9. And we have with us one and only Mr. Michael Sweet. Michael, thank you.
Who is Michael Sweet? I have no clue. The one you say, the one and only, and I'm thinking like it comes to mind like nobody.
You're too humble. You're too humble. So you have a significant meaning in my particular life because, you know, prior to me getting to know you on a personal level, I've known of you and I've admired everything you do and listened to your songs on MTV. I had the melodies run through my brain like while working. You know, with
It blows my mind. That's so awesome. I mean, it really does blow my mind.
And you are such a heavy rocker, that, you know, and then your spirit is so beautiful. And I wanted to just take a little bit of this time and get to know you a little bit better, and then to just, you know, organically for me, like, you know, I came here and just like, for me, my whole experience with the music and rock music and all this stuff's been super organic, like an experiment.
Right.
And you were a big part of it, because I remember in high school going to this kid's, like, you know, found a guitar player, freshman year or something, and I went to his room in his house, and he had you guys blasted.
Did he really? He was a Striper fan?
like the biggest Striper fan probably at the time. His whole entire, not like the upper deck of the wall, the walls, 4 walls.
Whole room.
No, I mean, like, one wall was you, one was us, and I walked in there and I got the yellow, like stripe, like I was like, you know, and he's like, this is a Christian rock band, is the first word out of his mouth. Listen to him, and he drops it, and I get to hear it, and I was like, what? You know, and it was so heavy, man, your pipes, so, and the guitar playing and all the stuff is there. And again, I've met Oz on a personal level too, and I'm blessed to know you. And I want to.
Likewise, it's an honor to know you. What little we text back and forth and follow each other on socials and comment on each other's socials and stuff. And you're such an amazing person, man.
Thank you so much.
Amazing player.
Thank you. You are an amazing.
More important is an amazing person.
God bless you. I feel the same as you. You are a light carrier in this world.
I try.
Your posts and they're so sincerely honest and open, and leaves wide open room for, you know, it's you can read every word is like delivered with an enormous amount of love.
I try to just speak from the heart, man, but also do so with respect. You know?
And it transcends as a not as a fan, as an outsider, as another musician, like looking at it, like, you know, it's like a breath of fresh air. I get a lot out of it, and I appreciate that.
Man, dude,
I appreciate that a lot.
That's awesome.
So sincerely, thank you for that, and I'm sure I'm not alone in feeling that way. But I want to just get to the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure you've said what I'm about to ask you a million times, but what attracted you, or like what happened? You know, what got you into music?
Well,
were you brought up in a musical family, and you and your brother were like, you know, Eddie Van Halen and Michael Anthony. I'm sorry, Eddie Van Halen and Alex Van Halen.
The Van Halen brothers.
But you like Eddie and David. And, you know,
I'll tell you with us. We grew up in a musical family, so from the time we were born, we were raised around music. My parents were singer-songwriters. They were finding babysitters and going out and performing in clubs while we were home with the babysitter when we were little kids. And my dad was always playing music, you know, ranging from opera, Mario Lanza, to Elvis Presley, to Creedence Clearwater, and even getting as heavy as Black Sabbath. My dad liked everything. And likes everything. He's still alive. He's still with us. And, you know, so I was raised with a very eclectic musical background. And my brother's 3 years older than me. So when we were teenagers, when I was 12, he was 15. So he was a man already. I was a punk kid into doing stupid stuff. And my dad suggested that Rob try me out as a singer because he was looking for a singer. And Robert just kind of laughed, like, him? You know, that's my punk brother, you know? And he wasn't real into it, but then the more he thought about it, he gave me a chance and auditioned me, and that was it. I mean, so I joined his band when I was 12, almost 13. As a singer, but I was a guitar player first. They already had a guitar player. Once that didn't work out, eventually we parted ways with him. I started playing guitar in the band. and then, covering both bases. And we've been together ever since. And here I am 60 almost, and Rob's almost 63.
That's
Or
beautiful.
he is 63. It's crazy.
That's awesome. You guys, not to sound cliche, don't look a day. Like, you don't look, you're young at heart, I guess.
It's
And you're out here touring, man. and,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, we try to take care of ourselves and whatnot, but we were never into the party lifestyle. I mean, we got out of that when we became a striper. We decided to take a different path, and all of our friends were on that same path. And we started seeing them. They go to rehab. If some of them died, we just felt like it was such a waste of life. And we just said, we want to devote the band to God and turn things around. We still enjoy life, We do things, if you come hang out with Striper, it's not a boring time.
No.
You're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
But we don't go out and get hammered, falling down on our faces, drunk. We don't know where we are the next morning. It's not
shows
like that.
reality as opposed to fantasy.
Exactly.
That's absolutely beautiful, because in the end,
Yeah.
you wake up sober at some point.
Exactly.
And you have to,
Yeah, and we're still here.
I know.
We're still here.
That's a great testimonial right there.
It really is, man, and we still enjoy what we do. Age is just an age. I mean, we're getting older, but who cares? It's all how
better
you think.
in a lot of
I
ways.
hope so. I mean, I feel like we're more refined.
That and your last solo record. I mean, it's like we touched on different stuff, and it's just like,
Yeah.
It's your 10th one, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my 10th one, and I've got ever since then. I've done 2 more that aren't yet. So now I'm going to be, the next one will be 13.
You're a busy man.
I'm a busy man. I love writing and recording and producing music.
It's I feel like but I was sloth when I look, because you do so much. You just did
It's
the
crazy.
new thing with George.
The new thing with George
Sounds
Lynch,
amazing,
yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
It's like the video's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. That's the beautiful thing about it. It's all in the same wheelhouse, but it's all different. And I've got another album coming out at the end of this year that's more in the line of Journey. It's a little more AOR. It's not metal, and people think, it's got to be metal. And it's like, well, it doesn't. A great song's a great song.
Sounds a great song.
Who cares what genre?
So as long as it comes from the heart.
Yes.
Because you've had great success with ballads.
You know what? And ballads, I grew up on Journey and Survivor.
Oh,
And, they're the ballad kings, and those are some amazing songs. I mean, they really touched my life and helped make me who I am as a musician. Journey. Oh yeah. I'd put in British Steel and listen to that for 2 hours, and then I'd drop in Dio, and then I'd drop in Loverboy, and then I'd drop in Journey, and then I'd go back to Maiden. I was all over the map.
That's beautiful. So, again, I want to talk about myself, but as like rock and roll experiment, I too was that. I like that band Honeymoon Suite. I like that one song. She's
killer,
got,
man.
she's
I
got
got a new girl now.
Yeah. My very first concert, I didn't speak English, and it wasn't in Houston, it was in Dallas, and I was 10 years old. We had just come to America, and my dad dropped me off at Cotton Bowl Stadium, dropped me off.
Wow.
He was like, I'll be back later. And I walked in, and I got to see Sammy, and I got to see April Wine.
Ooh,
I got to
great
see
band.
Cheap Trick. I love Cheap Trick. I love California rock band.
Okay.
And Christopher Cross had a hit song at the time.
Yeah.
With a beautiful singer and guitar player. He was there at that time too. And Eagles closed them.
See,
Foreigner too. Foreigner and Eagles.
Foreigner,
So there you go.
amazing.
That was my first show. It was called Texas Jam, I think 1979.
See, I used to love those old festivals because they had everything.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't just metal. It wasn't just, pop. It wasn't just country. It was like all these different styles coming together, which was really cool.
One of them had Metallica, Scorpions, Van Halen, Dawkins,
Yep.
and I forget what the name of that. Then Kingdom Come, I think, opened up.
Oh, yeah.
Fahrenheit even. And I forget the name of that festival. Monsters of Rock, possibly.
Fahrenheit, or was it? I think that was Charlie Farron's band, maybe.
Possibly. They opened up the gig, and I was there early during the day. And it was an amazing show.
Man,
You get to see things, firsthand. Dawkins had like the technical difficulties that were out of their hands, and it was just so, you know, you were a kid and you were watching, and Metallica was like flawless, Van Halen, and Scorpions always sound like a record playing.
Oh yeah.
And that was
no, they're phenomenal because they're such pros. And they're such gifted musicians, and then you put that all together, and they have one of the most unique singers ever to sing on planet Earth. Plus,
that's the category you also fall into. One of those great vocalists that like just stand out. You know, in the history of rock and roll, you
either love my voice or you hate it. There's no middle ground.
I love it.
I have a weird voice. I have a unique voice, and it's different. But you know, some people love it. Some people don't like it, and I get it.
But it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be different.
I wouldn't change it. I really wouldn't. And oddly enough, I listen to, like, I used to sing a lot to Halford. I sound nothing like him. I used to sing a lot to Dickinson, Dio, but I've been compared to guys like Dennis DeYoung, you know, and I never really sang to Dennis. I love Styx.
Me too, yeah.
I never sat and sang the songs. So yeah.
Maybe it's just a tonality.
It's a tonality.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's definitely, you know, some people hit that.
Yeah.
Van Halen would be Van Halen, then didn't have Mark Anthony.
Exactly.
I want to know about guitar players that
Ooh.
You know, I know you know, I can't imagine what it would have been like to been around, you know, a state where Van Halen came from. Like having that, it has to seep into your system.
Oh God!
Like it's in the air or something. It's just like it goes into you.
100%. When I was a kid, I started playing the clubs when I was 15 years old. LA, Whiskey, Gazzarri's, Troubadour, and I was going to the Starwood. I looked older than I was, so I would lie about my age, and I had a fake ID back then, and I get in to see these bands, and I saw Yesterday and Today, before they were Y&T, phenomenal. Quiet Riot with Randy. I never saw Van Halen in the clubs, but I heard about them. And it was such an incredible scene back then to be a part of that. And my favorite guitar players at the time, I was into guys like Michael Schenker. He was one of my favorites. John Sykes was another favorite of mine later on. Eddie, Randy. Those were the guys that I was drawn to. And then George. Once Dokken came on the scene, that's when I discovered George.
Yeah, George was amazing. George and Warren were like the same package for me.
Phenomenal.
Like not the same like style,
exactly.
but as far as like, I was telling somebody it's like California guitar players for me were like Edward, and then Randy, and then Warren for me, and then George, because it was like so unique, you know. Yeah. Even though Dokken wasn't one of my particularly favorite bands, I used to listen to the songs just so I could get to see what George was about.
Such a good player, and
so unique.
That's all just him, pretty much spontaneous stuff.
He's very, very, very
crazy,
very unique, and he just has like so many different touches of gold. Yeah. Like, you know, and it's in his spontaneous playing, it's like. He's like throws himself out to the wall.
Absolutely, and what's interesting, a lot of people don't know this. Randy used to go and watch George play. George would watch Randy. Eddie would watch George play. George would watch Eddie. Those three guitar players came up at the same time, but George didn't break till later.
Right.
With Doc.
Right.
And that's very interesting when you think about it.
That was quite an interesting part of history. You know,
really cool.
When you say it, you know, my imagination is, you know, because I come from where there was what there used to be scenes. We used to get to go see over here. Pantera played like once a week.
Right.
You know, at this club called Backstage, and they were just as good as they ever were going to be, if not better, and just on super. You know, they were on fire. But Daryl was. Someone like, it was just like, I had Eric Johnson was a big influence of mine. Daryl was a friend of mine. Yeah. I'd seen Eric have a couple of bad nights, technical issues, whatever. Yeah. Daryl, I've never, you know, he never missed. And he would do a part of his solo dedicated to Randy Rhoads. And he would, like, if he closed your eyes, he played with the essence of the song. So rest his soul.
Well, I'm a perfectionist. I'm that guy who I think nicely beats everyone up. Like I'm never happy with how we sang ever. Every show I come backstage, guys, man, we got to get this and that, and we missed that, and we missed that. And, you know,
You're in tune.
it's just how I'm built. So I always think we suck. I really do.
Because you just want, that's. I mean, I know as an artist what you're saying, because you guys do not suck, but you are at a point where like you just want fine tuning
Exactly.
things that I guess most people overlook. Huh?
Yes.
That's.
I want to be perfect, and no one's perfect.
It's
and
the
you
level
never are
of
perfect.
it's caring. I
Yes.
think. It's like,
Yes.
that's absolutely. If you care about your art,
100%.
that's pure love.
Yeah.
You want that love to go,
Yeah.
smooth.
Want it to be the best it can be.
Yeah, that's admirable, man. Amongst other things, man. I wanna, you've done. I talk about doing so much stuff, you know. You played with one of my favorite bands again. Growing up, you were in Boston for
Oh,
like
gosh.
4 or 5 years, and
I forget about that.
yeah, I mean that's so amazing. I mean, it's so amazing. There's so much that you forget about it. But how was that like singing those songs? I mean, you started off though so young that you were probably not jaded, but you seasoned and very by the time you were 15 and playing shows.
We were playing
a couple of years.
yeah.
By the time you were 17, now you are the man.
Yeah. Well, I signed a deal when Stryper first signed the deal, and we released our album. I was 20, and then when it came out a few months later, I turned 21. So we were young, really young, but it felt like a lifetime getting to that point. We worked really hard. From the time I was 12, 13, we started doing demos, writing songs, and then playing the clubs by the time I was 15. So you go from 12 to 20, that's 8 years of really intense work. Then we got signed, and then Boston, one of my favorite bands, that's the first album I bought when I was 13.
What an album!
First album. Blew my mind like everybody else. Same with Van Halen 1, blew my mind. And then I would never have imagined I'd be in Boston later on in life. And that was really interesting because my wife at the time was sick with cancer, and I was her caretaker, and Tom was getting over losing Brad because he committed suicide. And those moments in our lives came together. So I really believe, whether it's true or false, I believe that God brought us together to help each other heal,
I believe that.
So I went out with them and did that one tour, and he helped me heal, and I think I helped him heal. And then a few years later, we went our separate ways musically, but to look back on that, it was really special, really incredible.
And that you being a part of it, especially with that, what you just said, is like truly the universe works in such a beautiful way. God works in such a beautiful way.
Incredible, man. And
Opportunities to.
I was invited to sing a few songs at what was going to be their last show, and they had Ann Wilson, Sammy Hagar, Mickey Thomas, all these guys coming out. And they said, "We'd like you to sing a song." And then these guys started backing out. They couldn't do it. And they asked me to sing like 6 or 7 songs.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, and then that's when, I'll be honest, I about pooped my pants. I mean, I was like, oh crap, I have to sing More Than a Feeling and all these songs. I wanted to, but then the reality set in, and I thought, those are the hardest songs to sing in music, in rock. So I went up and did it. It went so well. Tom asked me to join the band. He said, we want to continue on with you. And it was really miraculous, incredible.
Thank God you did that.
Yeah.
I would say you say today what you did for him, but it seems like it worked both ways.
It was unreal, and it does work both ways. And I look back on those times, and it seems like a lifetime ago. It was in 2008. Here it is, 2023.
And the footage I see, saw, because being one of those bands, you you'd say those were that's like getting somebody with Van Halen or something, but you did such an honorable job.
Man, well, I got to do. Tom allowed me to do my thing. Like the other singer, Tommy, sounded like Brad, and Tom expected him to sound like Brad. Me, I could get away with pretty much murder. I mean, I would sing the songs the way I sung them, and I'd say, "What do you think, Tom?" And he'd say, "You're fine."
That's
And I say, "It's nothing like Brad." And he'd say, "That's fine."
beautiful. And then it makes it way more special. So maybe all the things that you have going on, and I know you have such a rich history with guitarists too. You have so many interesting guitars. I want to know, what is this beautiful thing that you play now?
In terms of guitar,
Guitar,
I'm playing Sully.
Sully, yeah.
Sully Guitars, John Sullivan. He's an amazing builder out of Texas. And he learned a lot from Grover himself. They actually released a guitar together not long ago. And I just love Sully as a person. And his guitars are like my old Jacksons.
Oh, nice.
Like the early 80s, mid 80s, late 80s Jacksons. And when I pick it up, I feel like I'm at home.
Nice.
And Washburns were great, but I parted ways with Washburn because of Gil, the key man being there. He left, and I had a great relationship with him, and I knew that it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, relationships are key in these things, because it's more, it's a lot going on.
It is.
To have a good relationship with.
You gotta have a good relationship. I had that with Gil. He left, so I knew I gotta go somewhere else. So I went with Sully, and Sully's amazing too.
I got to tell you, I was like up close looking at it, because I've seen pictures. Getting up close, I didn't pick it up and play it.
Oh, you can't?
It's a beautiful instrument. I love his headstock. I love what he did with the body.
Oh, killer.
I love the fret inlays too. But
Oh man, yeah, and see that's the thing. He tries to think outside the box.
yeah, it is. The
This
guitar
thing's a
is
little
that.
different.
Yeah, it is totally outside the box.
It is.
And it's like 2023.
Yep,
What else can you do with the guitar,
exactly.
And he did it.
He did it, and he does it. And I got a Star guitar coming. It's really cool, and I've got more of like a Randy Rhoads style. It's called a Concord.
Oh,
He built me. It's awesome, and he makes guitars that are similar to a Les Paul, and he builds all.
where's he based out of?
He's
from
based out of
right?
Texas. I want to say Dallas.
Okay, Dallas. Okay.
Yeah, super cool, sweet guy, man.
Awesome.
Amazing.
So, man, with all the things you got going on, I'm just curious. You got like, what do you say? A couple of more in the can? You got a lot of stuff in the can.
We've got a few more shows, and then we've got Monsters of Rock, and then we start a 5-week tour,
Wow.
round run,
In U.S. run?
U.S. run.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
and then we're going to Japan. We just got back from Australia, so we're kind of all over the place, and I'm just thankful that we can still do it. I mean, so many bands are having trouble doing it, and somehow, by the grace of God, we're like figuring out a way to make it work, and we do, and it blows my mind.
I thank God for it myself. That you've overcome such, you, Oz, like some health issues and stuff, and
Yeah.
again, going back to these lifestyle choices that you made, those seeds that you planted then
Yeah.
are bearing fruit at this time,
Oh, man.
and that's a big inspiration, man. Because I think for me personally, I don't feel my age, but things happen. The body gets,
You're 32. How old are you?
yeah. And then some. But yeah, it's such a big inspiration, and not to just to talk about it because it's a popular thing to talk about, but it's creating your personal reality,
Yep.
which becomes your personality, as opposed to the opposite way around, kind of like not tuning into the real self and always kind of have a knee-jerk reaction to what the outside world is offering. This kind of sobriety brings you a little bit more in tune with the self, and inside is where God resides within all of us. I don't see a separation between races of anything. I feel like we're all connected.
Yep. And we are.
And we are, and
Yeah.
I think the sense of separation is what the ego brings about. So it makes it easier to go kill. When you don't see someone as a brother or sister, then you can go drop a bomb on them for financial, whatever. We can not even get political,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's always here and it's always willing to serve.
Yep.
And it never had any, it's like, not to get crazy, but like I know a little bit that, and I know that first line out of Genesis is that God created heaven and earth, and what God created was good. So there's
Yeah.
nothing really bad.
Exactly.
And when you really look at it, there's nothing bad. It's
Exactly.
we running this same 60,000 thoughts in our brains that we did yesterday. So I've been learning how to, the more and more I come into, it's a beautiful, beautiful, it just keeps on revealing itself in such beautiful ways. Musically, you're an example of that. And
We really try to be
you
a
have
light
no
in the
idea.
dark, man, because there's a
You are.
lot of darkness in this world, especially. But there's a lot of light too.
and you are the light.
We try to be the light, and we shine the light in those dark places, and that's why people say, "Hey, you're a Christian man, why don't you go to churches, and why are you playing clubs?" And it's like, well, that's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point of what we do.
It takes a little beam of light to light up a room of dark.
Yes, exactly.
And you're doing that, and I appreciate that because yes, it's dark times right now, but what a time to be alive, to share their message and to
100%.
spread the love that we have.
Yep, and you have a choice to do what's right or do what's wrong. The internet fuels the fire for a lot of wrong,
Correct.
a lot of negativity, but there's still a lot of good people out there who are positive and doing good things, saying good things, posting good things. I'm trying.
I see that torch being lit, and I thank you.
Hey, you too, man.
I try also. I try,
And that's the difference.
It's and that's why I feel like it's what as dark as the media and the internet and
Yeah.
the news and want to make the world.
Yeah.
There's a beauty that's unmatched, and I tap into that, and I want to also be an example of it by not just speaking it but being it.
Yep.
Right. So I try to arrive
Yeah.
every moment that I not think about the past or think about the future, but to be like at this moment here with you and truly take it in. And,
Yeah.
and I am elated that I'm here with you.
Oh, man.
And I thank you for
Likewise,
being
bro.
here.
Yeah, because words really mean nothing if there's nothing to back them up, But when your actions align with your words, that's everything. So, it's so great to be with you, brother, and to see you doing the same thing, shining the light, being a positive force
Thank you.
in this crazy world.
I don't want to collab again.
I wanted to, man.
By the way, thank you so much for asking me to be on that record.
Dude.
It's a killer album, and it's so many great players on there. I'm humbled to be asked to be part of it. Loomis and Gus and everybody was like, every track is just
You
like,
killed it,
wow.
brother. And when I played the album for all the guys, we listened to it. You listen to albums for a while, and then you kind of move on to listening to something else. But when we were listening to that album, I was playing it for everybody. Everybody wanted to hear your solo over and over. Because what's really cool about what you did on that is we were talking about George earlier. It's so unique.
It's different.
It's fresh
Yeah.
and different and unique. It's not the same old, same old. And that's what blew us away. It's like, wow, this is different. Cool. Play it again. Let me hear that.
Yeah, I listened to it
cool.
myself. It's like what was I doing? I was like, wait a minute.
So awesome.
Thank you for asking me to do it, and,
course,
and I
man.
look forward to everything that you're doing. I'm so looking forward to the show tonight. You have no idea.
I hope it's a good one, brother.
It's
I
gonna
really
be-
do.
it's
And I
gonna
know with you, when you come out, that's going to be a good moment. I know that.
And I can't wait. Again, I'm looking really forward to this. I just want to sincerely thank you for being here, man.
Brother.
On behalf of me, my
Thanks,
friend
man.
Brett,
Thank you,
thank
guys.
you, Michael, and God bless.
God bless you too, guys.
Thanks, everybody.